Page 88 and 89, Pathways to Horizons. This is our C tuning piece. Hopefully you found your way into C tuning. Most of your chord fingerings that are within this piece will be familiar to you because the top three strings, third, second, first, are still tuned in G tuning. It's that fourth string. When you come across that, some of the fingerings on there will be in different places because of the change of pitch of your fourth string. There is a new marking I should explain in here. It's for any series of successive 16th notes. Most of the time we've been doing our 16th notes as a hammer, pull, or slide, and they've always come in pairs. But here they might come in more than just a pair. They might come in groups of four. To show a 16th note, look at measure 5 on page 88. And the first show up on the second two notes of measure 5. Now, there is a new chord that we're using within this piece, and that's the C sus2. It's a real ethereal chord. The only finger I have in my fretting hand down is the index finger at the second string, first fret. Measure 5 holds that chord down while picking through all this stuff. So you start with a quarter note, low fourth string. Here come the 16th notes. There's two of them in this case. They're on separate strings, so you obviously can't hammer down. So those two 16th notes are twice as fast as any of the eighth notes in the measure. The way we count groups of 16ths and eighths in this measure is as such: 1, 2 E and 3 and 4 and. Let me do that again. 1, 2 E and 3 and 4 and. So playing along with that, you get, I'll count it off for everybody, 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 E and 3 and 4 and. Once more for cleanliness' sake. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 E and 3 and 4 and. That's the first note of measure 6. Moving down to measure 10, third line, you have an F that looks like a D shape. The chord itself is not hard to fret, just 3 frets in a row, third string 5, second string 6, first string 7. It's the picking that's a little unusual towards the end of the measure. So the beginning of measure 10 is index picks, middle picks, the second string, fifth string, and then you jump up to a bar in measure 11. From there you've got some familiar chord shapes, hopefully to you by now. So let me play measures 9. Well, let me play the whole line of measure 9 through measure 12. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Middle. And the next little problem, well, I should go to measure 21. Notice it says C sus2, And then in parens, banjo, NC. What does NC mean? It means banjo is not playing a chord, no chord. The guitar backup will be playing that C sus2, while the banjo just picks through the notes of measure 21. Then the next problematic area occurs on the next page, measure 29. We have a series of 4 16th notes on the, let's see, 1, 2, third beat of the measure. You have to fit 4 16th notes. The way you count that is as follows: 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4. Let me play that for you with a count off. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and there's my first chord or note of measure 30. Let me do that once more, counting it off 4 beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4. This time with no counts other than the count off. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, moving on to measure 31, the third measure in. We have a G F-shaped chord. That's the first note of measure 32, and then 2 open strings. Give you time to shift up to an A minor bar 5. Of course, the A minor bar 5 comes with a pinky at the first string 7th fret. And what you do is you pluck the chord, lift the pinky, bring the pinky back down, and pluck the chord once more. And on the next line, you lift the pinky but keep the bar. Measure 33 is a pluck of the C chord bar, ring finger on 7th fret. By now you're off the bar. Slide that ring finger and then an open 5th string, little scale figure. Uh-oh, here comes another set of 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that was the count of how measure 35 would work. So let me count off measure 35, the third measure in on the second line of page 89. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That took me into measure 36. Let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Moving down to the line that starts with measure 37, I'm actually going to the next measure, 38, just to give you a fingering heads up. That is a fretting hand fingering heads up. Measure 38 starts with middle finger on the 2nd string 1st fret. Little unusual, but it's to set you up for what's up and coming. So middle finger, 2nd string 1st fret, ring finger, 1st string 2nd fret. Normally you would play that C chord differently, but This is going to smooth out the passage. So measure 38 starts with those two fingers in place. Fifth string, shift those fingers immediately to the 13th and 14th frets. Shift them back. Shift them up. Add your pinky. And then you bring in your first finger on the 3rd string, 12th fret. Then a bar. Measure 41, the final line. Bunch of, well, 2 bars just went by. And then 8, 9. These are all on 2nd and 1st strings. 6, 7. A bar at 5, 5. That may be an unusual maneuver in measure 42 where you pluck 2nd string 1st fret with open 1st string and then hammer your ring finger on the 1st string 2nd fret. That'll happen one more time. So with all that busyness, I'm going to play from measure 37 to the end. Measure 37 starts with that C sus2, which, for its fancy name, all it is your 1st finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. So you're holding that down throughout the measure. 1 and measure 37. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Little amen at the end there. So I've talked through the stickiest parts of this piece, and on the next track we'll play through Pathways to Horizons together.